Hello, everybody out there in the internet, anybody that's tuning in, and happy Guru Purnima. My name is Swami Monamurti Saraswati, and before I get started tonight, I've got a few things I'd like to speak about. But first, I'd like to pay my respects to my gurus, my teachers, who've inspired me throughout my life, you might say, since I was very young. And later on, when I met Swami Satchidananda and my gurus that followed, I'd just like to pay my respects and try to tune in as much as I can to them. And I hope they send you their blessings as well. So I'll just name a few of them. Swami Satchidananda Saraswati, my first guru who I met in 1988. His successor, Swami Naranjananda Saraswati, my guru, and my sannyas guru, and also Dr. John Mumford, Swami Ananda Kapila Saraswati, who passed away, unfortunately, this year on MAHAVATAR night, and also BABAJI here. And there's a couple of other gurus also, and I've got gurus in the astral as well. So but I'd like to acknowledge that the gurus, because they mean a lot to me. I could have done this video a couple of weeks ago on International Yoga Day for the United Nations, but yoga means so much more than that to me. And especially on Guru Purnima, it's such an auspicious day for anybody that has a teacher, acharya, or guru. It means so much to them. And I send my love out to all of them and to everybody that has a teacher. So what I wanted to talk about tonight is, I'll just narrate the story. Back in 2020, 3 years ago, November, 11th of November 2020, I live in Foster, Tuncurry Foster, on the mid-north coast of New South Wales, and I'd finished writing 2 yoga books, 2 texts. I've got a couple of bound copies here. I finished writing these books on Guru Purnima in 2020, and I had to wait another probably a month to add a little bit more to the second book on Kriya Yoga. I wanted to add a transcript from a channeling session that I had with an internationally renowned channeler, Jim Charles, in July, about mid-July. So I held off a little bit until I wrote up the transcript. It was all recorded, and I added it into that book, and it's very interesting. And as a 45-minute in that channeling, which is, I have the audio, it's recorded, there's a dialogue with Babaji for 45 minutes. So there's a lot of information there. So on the 11th of November, I had completed all the editing, or most of the editing, and I was driving to Taree, which is about half an hour drive north of Foster Tuncurry, to get to the office supplies place, where I could get a couple of copies printed off and bound so that I could do my final edits and just check it out, basically. So a printed manuscript before I could take it to publishers. So what I did, I printed them out on that day, and on my way home, it's about a half-hour drive from Taree to where I live. About halfway along the windy coastal road back to where I live, all of a sudden I'm driving my car driving my car, a very strange thing occurred. It was like a message coming in. I'm driving my car and there's a message coming in. Y equals MT plus S. And I thinking, what's this? Y, and it kept coming. Y equals T MT plus S. It just kept coming and coming and coming for about 15 minutes. I'm driving along and this message kept coming in, and I'm trying to drive the car. So I ended up pulling up the car and the message was still coming in, exactly the same. And I phoned my wife and told her about it. And I said, Babaji is sending me a message. So this is what the message is. And I told her, Y equals MT plus S. And I'm saying, what is this Y equals MT plus S? So I closed my eyes, sitting in the car, I'm closing my eyes, going into like a meditative state, looking up into the eyebrow center, trying to meditate. And I see written Y, T, and then in closed brackets, T plus S. Y equals M T plus S in closed brackets. So then I said to Babaji, what is this? Y equals M T plus S. So I'm just sitting in the car. And then I'll share the screen of this document that I've written for tonight's live stream. So I hope some of you can see this. This document here that I'm going through here, I've got it on another monitor here next to me. Y equals yoga. This is what Babaji told me, right? So this is also coming straight down into me. He's talking to me. Y equals yoga. M equals mastery. T equals time, the physical body, the conscious mind, and this dimension. S equals space, the astral body, the subconscious mind, plus the causal body, the unconscious mind, and all dimensions above the physical. And then that was it. So I just had to remember everything. So I'm writing the messages down on my phone, sending them back to my wife after I phoned her. So I'm telling her everything. While I'm trying, I still haven't got home. I pulled the car up on this country road, 15, 20 kilometers outside of home. So I've got this formula, and a scientific formula or a definition of yoga, a new definition of yoga according to MAHAVATAR Babaji, which he sent down through me into my conscious mind. So he's talking to my conscious mind or subconscious mind, which is filtering straight into my conscious mind. So that was one thing that I wanted to share tonight. So I've got it on the screen. So I'm scrolling up. I'll share this with whoever wants it after tonight's message. So also transmitted to me, apart from that, from Babaji, that formula for yoga, a new definition of yoga. So Patanjali's Yoga Sutras talks about yoga chitta vritti nirodha. So now this is a scientific definition, which is from Babaji. So this is something. So I had to share it. I sat on this for 3 years until today. So I had to get this out. It was just really, I've been mulling over it, churning it over in my mind for 3 years. This is only the second video I've done on YouTube since 2017. If anyone goes to my channel, Mona Murti, there's only a couple of videos there. There was one I did in 2017. It was about Swami Satchidananda and MAHAVATAR Babaji inspiring me to make that video. He actually told me for 6 months non-stop to make that video. So I made it just to keep my sanity. So now that's 2017. So now when I printed that book and this message came in, the formula is 2020. So a few things happened in between then. So this is just an update, basically, a very big update on that first video. And it concerns Babaji and Swami Satchidananda. So now I'll just talk a little bit about Kriya Yoga, which the second book I wrote is about Kriya Yoga. So Swami Satchidananda, I've always had a very rich relationship with my guru while he was alive and since he passed over. And, you know, the relationship never dies. And the astral relationship is very powerful if you can develop that relationship, and I've definitely got that. So Swami Satchidananda told me a bit concerning Kriya Yoga. The first 5 Kriyas of the Tantric Kriya Yoga system, as that Swami Satchidananda propagated through the Bihar School of Yoga, they activate the ion drive propulsion system. And the Kriyas that follow Mahabeta Mudra, which is the 5th Kriya, if you look at the original initiation sequence that Swami Satchidananda used to teach himself from 1968 to 1973, then the sequence that Bihar School of Yoga teaches changed. So Swami Janakananda Saraswati in Sweden, he teaches the original sequence that Swami Satchidananda taught him. So I was taught by Swami Janakananda Saraswati. So this is, and Swami Satchidananda told me to stick to that original sequence. And he told me that the propulsion system, the ion drive propulsion system. So when we're talking about ion drive propulsion systems, we're talking about aeronautics, right? Engineering, aeronautics for spaceships or rockets, thrusters that take a space rocket out of orbit into space. So he said the first 5 Kriyas of the Tantric Kriya Yoga system activate the ion drive propulsion system, and the Kriyas that follow Mahabeta Mudra activate the plasma drive propulsion system. So to get the idea of these Kriyas, you'll have to look on the next page, I'll share that in a minute, what the original sequence is. These propulsion systems are in the multi-dimensional body. So the physical body, in case you don't know yet, is a multi-dimensional body. The propulsion systems in the multi-dimensional body are activated by the rise and full awakening of the Kundalini Shakti energy. For Kriya Yogis, this is what separates the 3 bodies, namely the physical, astral, and causal bodies. So they're the 3 bodies. They're separated through the rise of the Kundalini Shakti, through the Sushumna Nadi, through the canal centralis of the spinal cord. And as the Shakti rises up through them, and you're continuing with your Kriyas, first you're activating the ion drive. Now you'll have to look at physics, look at aeronautics, look on Wikipedia, and you'll find out about the ion drives. I didn't know anything about it until I heard it from Swami Satyananda. Then I looked it up. So the ion drive propulsion system and the plasma drive propulsion system. So they're, instead of space aeronautics taking a rocket ship into space, this is the Kriya Yogi leaving the physical body through the astral into the causal, up into higher dimensions. So I'm sharing some information about Kriya Yoga now. So for Kriya Yogis, this is what separates the three bodies: the physical, astral, and causal. Ions and plasmas. Ion drive is a propulsion system. Plasma drive is a propulsion system. Inside the Sushumna, as the Kundalini opens up and rises further and further, these propulsion systems, which the physicists will be all looking at, the aeronautics looking at for space travel. Well, we're talking about inner space, not this dimension. This dimension, the rockets are going into outer space, okay? So we're talking about higher dimensions from the physical body. So your body's still here, but soon as Kundalini moves up inside Sushumna and Kundalini is activated, you start breaking, well, you start astral levitation straight away. And you're leaving this physical dimension. So you might not have heard much about this before, but, you know, this is where Kundalini is really taking you. Something else I want to share too, and this is from Babaji. The Sahasrara chakra is also a stargate, a portal of the multidimensional body, and is awakened by a Kriya Yoga technique that I was initiated into astrally by MAHAVATAR Babaji in 2018. Babaji called this Kriya Babaji's Kriya for awakening of the letters. Letters. I don't know if you've heard the book, The Garland of Letters by Sir John Woodruff, Arthur Avalon. So the letters in that book, if you read that book, you might find out a bit more about the letters. The letters of the mantras. Sahasrara is the portal or the stargate. So Babaji taught me this Kriya in the astral. It was a total experience where he was right there with me in this experience, showing me this Kriya. So anyway, full details are in my second manuscript, which I completed in 2020, titled The Kriya Yoga Sadhana Workbook, which is yet unpublished. So both of my books that I've written, I've been sitting on them for 3 years now. This is the first one. These are black and white, of course, black and white. Truth is Within Kundalini, Kriya Yoga, and the Kundalini Research Project. 333 pages, a lot of in-depth information with a commendation on the back page by my guru, Dr. John Mumford. So the commendation was actually that fantastic, and I received that in March. To live up to what he wrote, I had to write more. So I just started writing and writing and writing. And I wasn't really in a good condition because I'd actually just had back surgery. So just letting you know, in case you don't know. So in 2018, when I returned back from India, I hurt my back really badly, injured, and my whole life changed dramatically. And I was made to stop pursuing the corporate sort of role that I've been into for 16 years since I finished teaching yoga. I've been into this corporate side of things for 16 years. So after that, I was sidelined, you might say, and had to have back surgery. So for a Kriya yogi, and especially a yoga teacher, so it's pretty devastating. So I needed to find out more, and it's amazing, through my brilliant neurosurgeon that did my surgery and my own self-study, I learned a lot more about the spine than I thought I knew. Before, I thought I knew a lot about the spine, so I'd studied a lot about the spine because it's been my pet subject, Kundalini, Kriya Yoga. But now I've learned a lot more experientially, being someone that's had spinal surgery, major spinal surgery. So I was recovering from that, and I wrote this book on Kriya Yoga in 3 months. So I was finished the book by John Mumford wrote the commendation in March. I was finished by Guru Purnima. So that's 250 pages and cutting edge, brilliant. And I felt like I was absolutely channeling all my gurus, so the information just flowed straight out onto the computer. So it's pretty much a brilliant book, and I'm really looking for a publisher now. I think I tried 1 or 2 publishers, but only one of them got back to me, and it was right in the middle of COVID. So I thought, why waste my time? I'll just wait a while. So now I've finished waiting, and now I'm spilling the beans on a lot of things. And, I'm just wondering, where do I draw the line about what to talk about, especially tonight. Swami Satyananda has asked me to start talking about yoga subjects. So he's been prompting me heavily. So even tonight, I'll start a little bit. So, and then he wants me to continually, he tells me specifically what to speak about. So he wanted me to talk tonight about the redirection in Kriya Yoga, the redirection of prana and apana by Jalandhar Bandha, the neck lock, and Mula Bandha, the perineal lock, and the retraction of the abdominal area, Uddiyana Bandha. So that coordinated bandha is in that Kriya that I mentioned, MAHAVATAR mudra. So if you look at MAHAVATAR mudra, the mechanics behind this Kriya, after you do Mahabandha, which is the neck lock, throat lock, Jalandhar Bandha, Mula Bandha, the perineal lock, and Uddiyana Bandha, the abdominal lock. Those 3 coordinated together is called Mahabandha, the great lock. Okay, so that bandha is in the technique of Mahavata mudra. So after you do Mahavata mudra, Sushumna starts to flow more, and you feel, or you might feel, as you continue your kriyas, straight after Mahavata mudra, that the energy will start to flow and rise up, Sushumna, which is a very fine passageway. You won't find it unless you're very dedicated. So Sushumna is the pathway. Mahavata mudra, or Mahamudra and Mahavata mudra, they're the 2 most important kriyas. But after Mahabeta Mudra, if you're continuing the Kriyas, after Mahabeta Mudra, the plasma drive takes you further as you refine the energy further. The plasma drive starts to activate the propulsion system. Kundalini is the fuel. It takes you out of this body, right? So another thing that's, I told someone I'd talk about a little bit tonight is a little bit about Swara Yoga, which is another very important sadhana, science. I did a little bit of research on this about 20-something years ago, and in that research, I wrote a document, Swara Yoga and States of Consciousness. So if you can widen, in Swara Yoga, the energy, it's a study of the breath flow in the nostrils and how it correlates with the two hemispheres of our brain, left and right hemisphere. Left nostrils connected to the right hemisphere, right nostrils connected to the left hemisphere. They're activated. You can feel the breath in the nostrils if you breathe into your hands, what's flowing. It's usually a 90-minute window. The breath will flow through, say, the right. You can just check it, breathing into a mirror or your hands. The opposite side of your brain's active. So that's usually goes for like 1.5 hours, maybe 2 hours. And then the energy swaps over, comes over to the center, right? The energy flows over to the center, then goes to the opposite hemisphere and the opposite nostril. You can feel it in the nostrils, right? So that's a definite science, Swara Yoga. Look at that. So that window, when it's switching over, before it goes over, right? So what happens, the two hemispheres of your brain are connected by the corpus callosum, which is a very interesting part of our anatomy that you can check out. Corpus callosum. So as the breath flows over, so if you look at the Sushumna goes straight, vertical, then you'll see the pineal gland, and then above the pineal gland, between the hemispheres, is the corpus callosum, and it sort of follows the curve of your skull around. But the idea is to lengthen the time that both hemispheres are balanced, right? So when the breath is flowing balanced, perfectly balanced, the breath is flowing evenly. You can check it on a mirror. The energy is balanced in the brain, left and right hemisphere. So that's the window that you're aiming at, and you want to lengthen the amount of time. So it might stay a few minutes before it switches over to the other hemisphere, right? So you want to lengthen that amount of time where it stays in the middle. So you can lengthen that by pranayama or Kriya Yoga. So, and another thing is that bridge that I'm talking about, the corpus callosum, that's a bridge where, well, if you can awaken the guru tattva element in you, where you feel that you have a guru who's guiding you from the astral, because once you're inside there, there's the guru out here in the physical, you've also got to have that same connection on the inside, right? So the guru inside you, in the heart space, in Agnya, and also there's a bridge. I like to think of walking across that bridge with my guru, Swami Satyananda, my Guru Dev. I can spend some time there with him. I can learn lots of things from my guru because I try to tune in to my guru. in many ways, and you can learn a lot of things if you can do that. So this is one thing I told somebody. I'd speak a little bit about Swara Yoga. So the idea is to balance that breath flow, not about making predictions, but in reference to Kundalini Yoga. Swara Yoga in reference to Kundalini Yoga and Kriya Yoga. So they're all connected, and they're very interesting sadhanas. So I'll just click off that share. So that's that document. I don't know if anybody saw it, if anybody wants it. I should have a look to see if. You know, I hope this is all working right and I'm not wasting my time. So I've been going for 31 minutes. It still says it's recording live. So that's basically what I wanted to say tonight. But so the three, Swami Satyananda asked me to speak about the redirection of prana and apana and the awakening of samana, right? So the Uddiyana Bandha that I was talking about and Mahabeta Mudra, which uses the Mahabandha, the coordinated lock of the throat lock, the perineal lock, and the abdominal lock that awakens samana vayu, the subprana that operates in that region. And that helps to activate the sushumna. So it's very important. So that's basically what I wanted to say tonight. And I couldn't think of a more auspicious day to speak a little bit about it. There's lots of things that interest me, and maybe some scientists might want to look at Kriya Yoga a bit closer, because I'm sure that my gurus wouldn't tell me this about these propulsion systems. So maybe they might want to look a little bit into that. So what else did I want to talk about tonight? I could go on lots and lots and lots about different things. I'm interested in a few different things. As anybody would probably know if they've been looking at my feed for probably the last 10 years, I've been probably bombarding people's feeds with different things. They're the things that interest me. Anyway, I'll say good night tonight and Hari Om.